What's up guys? So today I'm here with my Z and I'm actually going to be talking about why this car is the best car under $10,000. And before I even get started, I'm just going to hit you with the best reason, and that's the versatility. This car can be tracked, it can be drifted, it can be daily driven, or it could even be just built as a show car. Like, you literally can do anything with this car, and I think that's why it's the best car under 10K. But also there's a lot of more bigger reasons as to why I think that, but we'll get straight into it. All right, so to start off with, yes, this car can be picked up for under 10K. Now, what I mean by under 10K is you can find one of these for like 5K, but it's probably gonna be a little bit clapped. So you wanna look at finding one for around 7 to 8K. That's usually the range where they sell them, where they're a little bit more well taken care of, or they'll have some sort of maintenance records. And definitely try to stay away from the salvage titles, because unless you're planning on keeping the car, it's not the best investment. But for the most part, even with these cars having high mileage, these things are bulletproof as long as you take care of it. Obviously this car is prone or known for burning oil, but as long as you take care of it, which goes for any car, it's gonna be reliable. So you found yourself a Z for 5 to 7K. Now you gotta decide what you wanna do with it. Are you gonna daily it? Are you gonna drift it? Are you gonna track it? What are you gonna do with it? Well, to start off with, you don't need to do anything. This car is absolutely perfect in stock form. Like, sure, you can get an exhaust, you can get coilovers, you can get an intake, you can get all that stuff. But just the way this car is right now, it's perfect to start off on the track, to start off drifting, just daily driving. Like, you can do a lot of things with the stock form of this car, which is why if you get this car as your first car, or if you get this car period, I say leave it stock for a bit. Like, enjoy it. Do everything you can before you get bored of it and start actually adding a couple of new parts to it. But yeah, you can do anything with this car. It's a car that you can get for 5 to 7K, and it's gonna already be pushing around 300 horsepower. Obviously not around those numbers completely, but very close to it. And to be honest, for someone that's just trying to get into cars or just starting off, this is perfect. That's the perfect amount of power you want. I've been actually thinking of selling it for a while, and I was looking on the market for anything around 10K, and there's absolutely nothing. Like, there's nothing better than this. You can obviously go for the good old turbo Honda, or in this case Integra, but at the end of the day, it's a different kind of fun. And the fun you're getting from this car is like a rear wheel drive fun. So I guess it's really just up to Honda versus this car, because I couldn't find anything better than this. And it actually made me appreciate this car a lot more, because like, just the simplicity of it, even just looking at the interior. Let me get the lights. Just like how simple it is with these little gauges. Enough space for whatever you need. Like, this car is very simple. And at the end of the day, the more simpler cars are a lot more enjoyable. All right, so what are you getting out of this car? You're getting around 250 to 300 horsepower for under $10,000. And yes, there's a lot of different versions of the 350Z, but it just really varies as to what your budget is. Because let's say you got like 10 to 15K, then obviously that's a whole different ballpark, because you're kind of in the 370 zone. But if you're in the 7 to 10K, then I just go with the DE. The DE is gonna be the oil burner, and everyone's gonna tell you to get an HR. But what they don't tell you is that modding an HR is like way more expensive than a DE. All right, so obviously when you're on the market for this car, it's a lot deeper than what it really seems, because you're gonna find yourself hearing or looking at things saying HR, DE, or rev up. And you're probably, if you don't know about this car, you're probably like, what is that? Well, I have the DE model, which is the 2003 to 2006. And that means that it's just a regular revving out to 6,400 RPM car. 380 or 287 crank horsepower, just the basics. But they made a Rev Up DE, which was, I think it was 2005 a certain model, and then 2006 certain models, I'm not too sure. But basically it's still the DE engine, which is the VQ35DE, but they ended up making it able to rev higher, which ended up producing 301 crank horsepower instead of the 287. But it doesn't end there. There's the dad of all 350Zs, which is the HR, and that's gonna be the 2007 and 2008 model, which is gonna be producing 306 horsepower, but it's gonna be a just completely way more stable block, and just dual throttle body, dual intake obviously, and it's gonna be just more easier to hold higher power. Now, like I said, building an HR is a lot more expensive than building a DE. And for the reason for that is that it only came out for 2 years, whereas this car came out since 2003 to 2006. So there was more time to produce aftermarket support rather than the HR just being for 2 years. And obviously, like, if you're getting an exhaust for, just test pipes, let's say, for instance, for the HR, it's gonna be closer to $400. Whereas if you're getting them for this car, it's gonna be around $200 for some cheap ones. It's just an example, but yeah, there's 3 different versions of this car. The DE Rev Up, which revs higher than the DE and produces a little bit more power. And then the HR, which is not me, but I wish. No, I don't wish, I don't know. But it produces the most power out of this car. And surprisingly enough though, the DEs have more torque than the HR, which is, I think, an interesting fact, because you'd expect a higher revving car, a faster car, to be quicker in general, all around. But this car has more torque than the HR, which is interesting. But anyways, what else was I gonna talk about? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So when you're buying this car, the known fact about cars in general is that automatics are faster, right? But for this 350Z, for the 350Z in general, they made the automatic transmissions very sluggish. So it takes, the shifts are not smooth at all. So the 0 to 60 times for the manuals compared to the automatics are actually slower than the manuals, which is not very known for cars in general, because usually everyone says automatic's faster than manual, but in this case, you can actually shift this car faster than an automatic. So again, if you're gonna buy this car, I gotta say, go for a manual. If you don't know how to drive manual, learn. It's not hard. It's just gonna be way more enjoyable. You're gonna have control of the full car. There's no restrictions. And at the end of the day, they're also more valuable. So you'll probably find a super clean 350Z for like 6K, but it's automatic. And the reason why it's so cheap is because automatics are not as desirable as a manual for this car. And for any car, if you're talking to me. But yeah, just for this car. But yeah, that's the manual and the automatic right there. Get a manual 350Z, it's faster, it's more responsive, and it's a lot more fun. All right, so now that I've talked about the things you could do with this car and a little bit of information about it, what do I want to do with it and why did I get this car? So what I want to do with it is I want to make a street track build. So I want to be able to be a fast straight line car, but I also want to be able to throw on some good little sticky tires and go on a canyon and rip it. I don't really think I want to actually go to a real track with it. I want to just keep it as a street car, but I definitely want to make it a little bit more aggressive. Like, I'm definitely going to get some bigger tires, bigger wheels, some fat meat in the back. But yeah, that's basically what I want to do. I just want to make this car as fast as I can, NA. So just a full naturally aspirated build. And then obviously if the motor goes, and we rebuild a new one. And then we go some hard internals and we go turbo. That's basically the plan. I'm not trying to be the fastest, but I just want to be quick because I've always liked quick cars. And just going into the interior before I end the video, because I didn't really show it much, but it's a very simple interior. Obviously 2 seats, no rear seats. It has that 3 gauge, the 3 gauges right here. I really think this interior is so nice. Like, this is one of the main reasons why I want this car. Just the interior alone. Obviously 6-speed. But yeah, this car is like very practical for. Damn. This car would be very practical for like a student that's not trying to overly commit to a big car, or just trying to have a fun little car to go to school. This car would be a great car for a student. Although I'm a student and I struggle to put gas in this thing, as you can see. But this car has, you can see, has 158,000 miles. So it's definitely not a low mile Z whatsoever. But I will say that I've owned this car for 2 years and it's given me 0 problems. So that's not enough. I don't know what is. But yeah, what other car on the market under $10,000 do you know that you can just pick up straight stock and then you can go straight to the track to drift, to race, or just have some fun on the streets? There's no car. Unfortunately, there's no car, and well, fortunately, it's this car, and I own it, and I love it. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and soon I'm gonna get the permission to drive this beast right here, which is a little turbo Teggy, a little bit of a high horsepower car right there. But anyways, I'll see you guys later.